I'm having a talk from her office at UCSB Music Department with the incredible soprano Isabel Bayrakdarian. She is also an assistant professor for the voice division at UCSB. She is a woman of her own spirit, because I remember the last time I spoke to you, you told me the story about how you decided you were going to live in Santa Barbara. And sure enough, you did, and here you are, while maintaining a huge, wonderful career around the world. So Santa Barbara, I just want to make sure everybody out there in Southern California watching this is very, very lucky to have Isabel here at Santa Barbara, and here's why. We are going to be talking about the upcoming UCSB Opera Theater production of Mozart's The Marriage of Figaro. February 8th, that's a Thursday, and it's only one showing on Thursday, February 8th. Hang on, I got to find Kostis' name. Kostis Protopapas is conducting. Yeah, did you want to step in for a second?
Yes, it's Thursday, February 8th and Saturday, February 10th.
Oh, I missed it. Did you add that or something? I never saw the thing.
Oh,
boy. I always miss something. Hang on. Hang on, I'm just going to, and 2 p.m. or something? What's that?
No, they're both at 7:30.
7:30, okay. And that's on the 10th. That's Saturday the 10th?
Saturday the 10th.
Saturday the 10th. Thanks. So that I can get back to it and not miss it second time around. Okay, let's get through this once more. It's not one night only, it's 2 nights. We've got Marriage of Figaro at UCSB Lottie Lehman Concert Hall, staging there. I've seen many productions of the opera theater there. It's wonderful, accommodating little opera house. It works very, very well. The 2 dates for Marriage of Figaro, UCSB Opera Theater are, here we go, Thursday, February 8th at 7:30 in the evening, and then Saturday, February 10th at 7:30 in the evening. I hope I get that right. Lottie Lehman Concert Hall. Tickets, 5 to 20. I mean, it's nothing. Peanuts. And if you're under 12, get your parents to bring you in, because it's free for anybody under 12, okay? Let me give the phone number, and then we'll get started on this chat. Associated Students Ticket Office in Santa Barbara for all of you in Southern California. By the way, the freeway's open. Hello. It's time to come up, have a meal, have a good time, and see this wonderful production of The Marriage of Figaro. The telephone number for the box office is area code 805 in Santa Barbara, 893 2064. Kostis Protopapas, as I mentioned, who is Artistic and General Director of Opera Santa Barbara, will be conducting. Wonderful conductor. Tenor Benjamin Bracker, he is a professor of voice at UCSB and is also engaged in a full-time operatic career, will be music director. And of course, you are involved in Isabel in staging, and I can see the wicked smile. I hope there's goodies for you to tell me. Let's just take just a minute, and Isabel, would you mind just giving all of us in Southern California, just a little quick overview about your life as a professional musician, so we can see just how high the level is at UCSB?
No, I don't toot my horn. I'm just going to say that this opera holds a very special place in my heart and in my career. I made my professional debut at all of the big opera houses in the world, singing Susanna. Anything from Metropolitan Opera, Covent Garden, London, Paris Opera, Munich Opera in Germany, a Canadian Opera Company, Lyric Opera of Chicago, Los Angeles Opera, and the list goes on. I have been in productions as varied as 18th century proper to this crazy avant-garde productions that have only 12 doors. Go and figure. But somehow the genius of Mozart and the libretto of Da Ponte always elevates it. So there's the common denominator of how authentic this opera is, and the reason why 300 years after it's being written, it's still relatable to us. And even with 21st century sensibilities, it's still relevant, because human emotions and our reactions to circumstances doesn't change. Our society changes, but we as human beings haven't really evolved as quickly as technology, So it's just so, for me, it was so beautiful to bring to the students, to the next generation, this vast experience, and empowering them, the new generation, giving them the tools to go out there and continue this beautiful opera and make it alive for many, many, many centuries. Why not?
And not only that, as you said, it's a tremendous training for the professional world. I presume in terms of endurance, in terms of range, tessitura, all of that stuff that young professionals in their 20s, young grad students really need to bite their teeth into, as it were.
And we're very lucky. The stars aligned in such a way that in our graduate department, we had the voice for every role, with only one exception, but which was a secondary role. But all the primary roles, we had all of them. So we are very fortunate that we're using the entire graduate voice area, the students. And in addition to that, we have a lot of undergraduate students, for example, singing the Flower Girls or even Antonio. This is an experience that you don't get to have at an undergraduate level anywhere else. So fantastic opportunity for them to be on stage, to be on a beautiful set. The set itself is very interesting.
Oh, good, you're getting there. That was my next question about set design. Go.
It's very interesting because it's revolving. The set designer, Rick Adams, he was looking through photos of he'd been in castles in Europe where the servants' quarters were actually in between the main quarters so that they're very accessible to their masters, whether they're bringing in clothes or their tureens or whatever it is. So it's very interesting how this shift will happen on stage, giving a real credibility of entrances and exits and how it's believable that, yes, you can hear something from the other side and convey it to the rest, you know. So it's really wonderful for the students themselves to be on an actual set that, you know, it can't come closer to real life than it is now. Because the costumes are beautiful. The costumes were procured from the East Coast. Actually, they're from a particular from a production. We rented them out.
Are we talking 18th century costuming? So it's a traditional production.
Oh, yes, we love calling it faux coco, not rococo. It's somewhere there, you know. It's great for the students to wear silk, you know, and move around with a train, and how different it is to actually move. The women especially. How do you walk around? It's not until you wear this clothes, and it's not until you actually have to act it out that you realize this is something I can only learn on stage. I cannot learn it in a studio. I cannot learn it anywhere else. I'm only learning this on stage in order to perform it with a real set. So what a fantastic opportunity for the students to learn an opera. One of the operas, you know, and in Italian as well, in the original.
Yes, I was going to mention that.
Yes, to learn a role that's going to be so practical for their future, meaning we're actually training them in a role that's going to bring them a paycheck in the future. You know, that's the best, yes, the best practical teaching you can give to a performer. You know, it's different when you're studying another branch of music, of course, musicology or theory. This is a performance degree, which means we're training somebody to perform, no? So you have to give them the best skills. Now, the students also in this case, you know, need a lot of guidance, not just vocal, not just how to phrase a Mozartian line, but also movement, stagecraft. Something as simple as how do you slap somebody on stage without slapping them? Because Susanna does that a lot, right? Things like this, where stagecraft comes in, or even movement, slight dances, rhythm. How do you sing and dance at the same time while keeping your eyes on the conductor so you don't? You know, these are so tricky, and it's the practical experience that teaches you. No one else, just doing it. So we're very fortunate, as I said, that the students, the stars aligned. Everybody is their role. I couldn't have wished for a better cast.
Did you see it coming a year ago? In other words, having to prepare for the next, be ahead by a year. Did you see these people coming?
Well, because this is not a professional opera company. We're a instructional institution. So every year the students change, right? Some graduate students are graduating, new ones are coming. So we can't really make any decisions about future years until we hear who's coming next year, who do we have next year, and then make a decision on what to stage. So everything is so last minute. So, but it's okay. It's okay.
By the way, I was in Cuba last summer. All of Cuba is so last minute. So I know from this experience, it's nerve-wracking. Yeah. How about, and by the way, what could be more topical? This opera is all about the wars of the sexes and the wars of the classes. Do you want to touch on that just a little bit?
Absolutely. This opera, has a way of melding, blurring the lines between centuries. 18th century, 21st century, everything is the same. Let me go through this. Infidelity still happens today. Affairs. How about judicial bribery? How about that? It happened then. Yeah.
I forgot that part.
The age discrimination. For Marcellina. She's not that old. Especially in this production, I insisted that Marcellina is a young, sexy, beautiful, powerful woman who was not treated well when she was young, but now she's getting, she has the upper hand. And I specifically inserted a recit that never gets sung by Marcellina, in which she says a beautiful line, which is so appropriate for today's Me Too movement, let's say, in which it says, if only we can get out of our vanities, we women will stick together and we will avenge men who have wronged us. It's just, and Da Ponte wrote it 300 years ago, more than that. So, but having said all the negatives, I'll also say, just like in 18th century, we still have love, we still have forgiveness, we still have atonement, and we still have laughter. So all these things redeem the beautiful traits of humankind, coexist, I guess, with the negative. Yet, as Mozart shows us, positive always wins at the end. The good always wins at the end.
Good grief, I believe we just went through yin and yang and positive, negative, and all kinds of profound and deep things in about 3 minutes. It's marvelous, but it speaks to a masterpiece, the longevity of a masterpiece. Now let's just talk about something else, though, melody.
There are moments in this opera, to me, they're holy. Truly, I feel I have to pray in that moment. There is a beautiful, actually, it comes about, to me, everyone has a personal favorite. 3 times to me it comes when, in Act 2 finale, when Countess, Susanna, and Figaro are asking the Count, please grant us permission to get married. That's it. The Mozart creates a cathedral of voice. It's a cathedral that comes up like this, and you just have to bow. The other one, for me, the special one, is Act 4 finale. That extremely tender moment when the Count realizes he's wronged his wife so much. He can do nothing but ask for forgiveness in front of the whole village. That takes a lot of, he must have been stripped of his ego, or he just let that down, vulnerability. And the answer of Countess to the melody that the Count sings, it's just, as I'm talking about it, I'm getting goosebumps, because harmonically, Mozart creates forgiveness, a sense of love, a sense of all will be well. It's just, thankfully, I will say, this opera will be less than 3 hours, okay? I know it's usually long. We've done enough cuts. I'm saying this ahead of time. It will be much less than 3 hours. It will be enjoyable. It will not be in any way, you will not feel in any way that it's dragging. It's going to have a lot of constant overlapping scenes. But the music, just the other day when we were rehearsing, Dan, um, I approached the stage management on the table and I said, well, the singers were singing. I said, you must feel so fortunate to be hearing, to be so close to them singing this divine music, which is sacred in many ways. It's so beautiful. I mean, I don't think there, maybe in Strauss, the poetry or the libretto and the music come together to create, two geniuses come together to create something magical that has no predecessor and no successor.
This brings us full circle from where we started about why this is a wonderful piece of work for students to get into. For all of those many, many reasons at so many different levels, psychologically, artistically, endurance, technique, all of it. So it's a surpassing masterpiece. It's absolutely brilliant. We're going to have to end here. By the way, can I interview you several hundred more times? I mean, you are without doubt the most articulate person, possibly at least in the greater Santa Barbara region.
You make me blush.
Isabel Bayrakdarian, what a great pleasure to chat with you again, this time where we actually see each other for once. Let's run down the figures once more. UCSB Opera Theater, Mozart, Marriage of Figaro, 1786, just so you kind of get an idea. He wasn't, there weren't many more years left, so this is Mozart at the height, really, of his maturity. Marriage of Figaro, sung in Italian with English super titles. 2 performances, Thursday evening, February 8th at 7:30, and Saturday evening, February 10th at 7:30, Lottie Lehman Concert Hall, beautiful venue, like a small little opera house on the UCSB campus. Tickets $5 to $20. I mean, ridiculous. Tickets can be purchased for all of you that are watching this in Southern California. And, I always do the pitch about coming on up, but, if ever there was a time to come up after all of the stuff Santa Barbara's been through and throw some money at a restaurant and have a good time and then catch a wonderful performance. Ticket information, the Associated Students Ticket Office at UCSB. Telephone number is area code 805-893-2064. As you have seen, we have an amazing voice faculty and opera staff at UCSB. It's been I'll never forget A Tender Land. I saw A Tender Land, I think that was the first year that Benjamin Brecker was on staff. I'd been wanting to see that opera since I was like 10. Wonderful. So that's the level that's going on at UCSB, and I'm sure this is going to be an opera buffa, so we're going to have a wonderful time as well, and it's a great work of art. Isabel, many, many thanks for giving me some time. See you. Bye-bye.